Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another Onside SA Soccer Show. Paul is enjoying his layoff, so joining me again is our Manning Rangers league winner, Gavin Radford. Gav?
Good morning, Budge. Good to be here. It's been a while since the winning league winner came up to air, but yeah, that's what it is. 20 years ago, just about.
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
a while, yeah.
Time flies. Talking about how time flies, the AFCON finished last Friday. As we predicted, Algeria, I thought they were a little bit fortunate to beat Senegal. Gav, how'd you see it?
Yeah, I think they got the goal early in the game. Should have set the game up for a good spectacular match. But it just seemed to fizzle out a bit. Both teams seemed to cancel each other out, and that's what I was expecting for the game. So Algeria, yeah, I mean, we said it during the tournament that they looked like the team that was ready for the tournament. They looked like they were well prepared. So yeah, good luck to them. But yeah, not a great final. Finals aren't really that spectacular anymore because the teams just really cancel each other out.
Yeah, I was on Senegal the whole tournament. I had a nice bet to come, but fortunately I took even money Algeria to win the trophy, so I did win a few rand. But what was strange was that was the best Senegal played the whole tournament.
Yeah, I mean, they had chances in the tournament, but they had penalties, they had good opportunities going forward, but I always thought that their back four was a little bit of a letdown for them. But yeah, they did the business, they got to the final, and then you should be kicking on, looking to win the game. Like we said, rather have a big bite of the cherry than die wondering. And I think a little bit, they were just a little bit wondering what they should have done, what they could have done.
Yeah, I agree. Was it a penalty?
Yeah, I think it's a penalty.
Yes.
I mean, we see it a couple of times in slow-mo afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, the referee's got to make a decision. I think he said no penalty to start, and then he went and reviewed it and gave the penalty. So it's a bit controversial. So VAR is going to play a big part in the Premiership this year. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think VAR has got a lot to do to please everybody. But anyway, congratulations to Algeria over the competition. I thought they were the best team. We're now going to go over to our UK correspondent, Stevie Brahm. Stevie, are you there? Morning, Steve.
Morning, Buzz. Morning, Gav.
Morning.
We were speaking prior. You were at Lord's yesterday to see 20 wickets fall. Nice day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you'd left your office late and went at lunchtime, you wouldn't have realised that England had been batting.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess if nothing else, I guess I was there the day history was made. Maybe for the wrong reasons, but
yeah. Well, you can only improve, Steve. It's the first game after a massive victory, so you can imagine the spirit. But I think it's a major wake-up call, and I think you'll turn it around today.
Well, I think there's an opportunity now, having sort of bowled Ireland out late yesterday, is that they start afresh today, and they know what they have to do. They know they have to score 300 plus to be back in the game. So I think there's some good cricket. It probably won't go more than 3 days though. Yeah. So as we said, anyone who's got tickets for day 4 might be struggling.
Yeah. Talking of record, Steve, Newcastle signed Hoffenheim striker Joelinton.
Yeah,
40 million.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. I saw that he scored 11 goals last season. Didn't set the Bundesliga alight. They obviously think he's got a lot of potential. He wasn't their first choice, but as we said before, they have no choice. They've got no forwards. They had to go out and buy. So it's a little bit of a gamble. They've given him the number 9 shirt. He's got huge boots to fill. Yeah. A lot of pressure on him, but I think if he hits the ground running and gets an early goal or two, but otherwise, they could be struggling. So I think they certainly need to bring somebody else in alongside him because they lost with losing Perez and Rondon not staying. I think they'll definitely light up front.
Well, maybe it's a lucky omen. The last Brazilian centre forward that came to the league from Hoffenheim was Bobby Firmino. They went to Liverpool, so I'm sure the Geordies will be fancying if he's half as good. Be a good signing.
Yeah, I think the jury's out. I think they're happy that they signed him, and I think they needed to do something because they were still smarting over the Steve Bruce appointment. Yeah. So Steve Bruce was on record yesterday. I heard him being interviewed, basically saying, "Look, give me and give the team a chance, and let's work together and see what happens." So I think the talk about sort of boycotting games, I think that's probably subsided now. They've actually brought somebody in.
Yeah. Aston Villa signed Trezeguet. We watched him in the AFCON for Egypt. He doesn't look a bad player.
Yeah, but I'm just starting to worry now. I mean, that they brought so many players in that even though on the face of it looks like they've sort of spent a bit more wisely than we did Fulham last year. Yeah. You can't throw 7 or 8 new players into a team and expect them to gel straight away. So they got a little bit, and they're still being linked with 1 or 2 more. And I think there comes a point you think, well, how many new players do they actually need? Because they're not all going to get a game. Yeah. So as I say, I think they seem to be going about things the right way. We know they had to strengthen because they had a lot of players on loan and a lot of players who were at the end of their contracts who probably weren't going to get kept on. So they had no choice. But I think it remains to be. I think they will do okay. I think they'll just about hold their own. So I suppose you look at it. If I was an Aston Villa fan, I look at it and say, are there three teams worse than us in the league? And I suspect, as things stand, there are. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck to them. Hudson-Odoi signs for Chelsea. Frank Lampard, a lot to do with that?
I think that Frank Lampard going there and obviously my understanding is he's spoken to him a few times and basically said, look, when you're back and you're fit, because obviously he's out now for a while, he does figure in his plans, certainly in the short and medium term. So I just had a feeling he was always going to stay and sign. It was a good bargaining chip, the fact that Bayern Munich were prepared to pay a lot of money. Chelsea had no choice but to offer him a very substantial contract for a young man. I think, rumours have it it's something sort of somewhere close to 150,000 a week for 5 years. So that's not bad for a 19-year-old.
Yeah. Do you think if Sarri had been there, he wouldn't have signed?
That's a possibility. I mean, he was giving a bit of game time, but Sarri was very reluctant to play him in the Premier League. So, that is a possibility. But I think the fact that, Frank Lampard's there are other young players who are staying and look as if they're going to feature in the squad. So I think that's probably the right move for him at this moment in time.
Steve, there's a lot of newspaper expedition going along. Harry Maguire, do you think he'll sign, or is just merry-go-round again?
I think the bottom line is Leicester have basically said, look, meet our valuation, or he's not going. And I think there's no question Harry Maguire would like to go. And it's up to City or United. If they're prepared to pay in excess of 70 million, then they'll get him. There's no point in them haggling because Leicester have made it very clear. Yeah. The thing is, though, as we know, we're only 2 and a bit weeks away from the transfer window shutting, so they can't leave it to the last minute, because if Leicester don't get an able replacement, then they won't sell him. So I think there's a lot of sort of this week. I think we'll see a few things sorted out. I don't think they can leave it to the last few days of the window.
Yeah, I agree. All you've got to do is sell Rojo Adamian for 10 or 15 million, other on big wages, and pay the 80 or 90 million. I can't imagine United starting the season with Smalling and Jones, Bailly and Lindelof at the back. No, it doesn't make sense.
You're right, but what's very interesting is Ole Solskjaer has started giving Axel Tuanzebe a lot of praise. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if he doesn't bring Maguire in, that we will see Axel Tuanzebe quite early in the season playing. Okay. I think he rates him highly. So I don't think the United fans necessarily would be very happy, but he might surprise everybody. I mean, he's a young player. He had a good spell on loan out. There's no way they're going to loan him out again this year. So I think if all else fails, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be prepared to throw him in rather than playing sort of Jones or Smalling, because I just think they didn't have a lot of pace to start with, but their legs to me have looked as if they've gone a bit.
Yeah. Steve, the Spurs boys are in a bit of a tantrum with Christian Eriksen. What's going on with that signing?
Very strange. I mean, again, no one seems to have come in with a bid for Eriksen. It's almost like, there's a lot of clubs I think would like him, but he's not their first choice. Yeah. So it's almost as if clubs can't get, those big clubs can't get the players they want. So if Real can't get Pogba, United are looking, they're always sniffing around. You just think, but if he doesn't, and he doesn't go, then you just wonder what's going to happen. I mean, Tottenham aren't going to be very happy about letting him go on a free or talking to clubs in January, and they're still looking at something like they hope they can get sort of in excess of 50 million for him. So he's not being pushed out the door, but I think that they're going to want to resolve that situation in the next 2 weeks. The other end side is that he hasn't, my understanding is, that there is a potential contract on the table, but his representatives, I think, are still hoping that a bid will come in for him.
Yeah. Now you're talking about 70 million. I'd rather have him than Bruno Fernandes if you're spending 70 million.
Well, this is the point. He's a proven, Premier League star, and if you're prepared to pay 70, 80 million for Harry Maguire, it's fine. But Eriksen is going to make things happen, and that's probably the position that United haven't got someone who could just unlock those defences, and Eriksen can do that. So I'm surprised that teams just haven't come in and swooped him up, and it's probably a bit disappointing for him because he's been to me he's been a star since for the whole 5 years he's been at Tottenham. With all the players they bought on when they sold Gareth Bale, to me, he's the one that's stood out, the most.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other player that's also seems to be in limbo is Leroy Sané. What is happening with Man City?
Well, this is very... So yesterday, I don't know if you saw, Pep Guardiola, when asked about it, made a very strange comment when he basically said, it's out of our hands. If he wants to go, it will be sad. Well, he still has 2 years left on his contract. So to my mind, it's not out of their hands. City can turn around and say, no, we're not selling you. Yeah. So to actually say that, if he was in his last year, that's different. But to say that when someone still has 2 years on their contract, very strange. They would want a lot of money for him. I mean, they're going to want I understand, somewhere sort of between 80 to 100 million, and whether Bayern are prepared to pay that. Bayern have got a record to basically say, this is the player we want. We want him, the fans want him. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on him, and I guess he needs to know as well in his own mind, if he stays at City, is he going to get regular game time or is he going to be on the bench? Yeah. I think that's part of the issue, because if he goes to Bayern Munich, it's guaranteed he's going to play, because obviously having, losing sort of Robben and Ribery, they need that wide player. Yeah. I think it would be a shame. I mean, I think he's an exciting player and I love watching him play. So, I think it would be a shame if we lose him to the Bundesliga.
Yeah, when you think they've got Moritz, they've got Sterling, and they've got Bernardo Silva and him, I don't think he's going to start. And especially with his tantrums, Guardiola doesn't seem to fancy him, and I don't know why.
Well, I think the comment yesterday just almost seemed to open the door for it. I mean, again, in the... Guardiola said that there is a contract of waiting and to talk to his representatives. So it's almost like, they're saying, if you want to go, we don't want you to, but it's up to you now. Yeah. So, which is, he didn't come around and say, no, he's our player, we want him to stay. He didn't say that at all. So I don't know if I was the player, having said that, he played in their last friendly last night and scored 2 goals. Over in Hong Kong. So we don't know what's being said directly to him, what Guardiola's saying to him. So the trouble is, it's not necessarily, in Guardiola's hands anyway. It's up to, as we know, it's always the money men who decide.
Yeah, I would sign him in a heartbeat, Steve. I think he's a really good player,
He is, and again, if they sold him and then all of a sudden, Bernardo Silva got injured or Sterling or somebody, then, they're all of a sudden they're two sort of wide stars out. So, I think, but it is hard, as we know, to keep all these, incredible players happy when you're, but if City are going to go for 4, and there's no reason why they can't go for 4, the Premier League and 3 cups again, they need a squad of that size. They have to rotate players.
Yeah. Talking about cups, I see the Wolves are in action in the Europa League tonight.
Yeah, they shouldn't have any problems. In fact, Fulham played Crusaders some years ago and they were game, but there's a gulf of difference between the Northern Irish League and the Premier League. Wolves haven't got to be at their best to win both legs. So, I think they will come through comfortably.
Yeah, I see there's 3 rounds before they get to the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the problem. It's, play a lot of games to do that. But, Wolves are equipped. They haven't got a big squad, though, and I think Nuno was sort of saying that they need to bring players in because Burnley had this problem last season, if you remember. Yeah. They were playing these early rounds, and actually they started the Premier League very poorly. When Fulham played them in August, they'd already played sort of 4 or 6 games, and it looked like it because they were quite leggy on the day. So I think if you haven't, I think that could be the only problem for Wolves. If they in the next round they get a tougher game, and they want to progress because obviously it's in important competition to do well in, but he's going to have to sort of rotate his squad, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And Steve, last but not least, Peter Crouch. I see he's retired finally.
Yeah. Well, for somebody who I remember seeing him playing for QPR right at the beginning of his career and thinking, this guy, he's tall, but he doesn't look like he's got much about him. I mean, he's made an unbelievable career after somebody with a modicum of talent, really, compared to a lot of his peers. And, the fact that he, as you say, scored so many goals for England, quite incredible. And good luck to him. He's been, you never hear any scandal about him. Yeah. I mean, he just gets on with the game. He's been at a lot of clubs and, teams have always wanted to sign him, and he just, gives 100%. As I say, for somebody with limited skill, really, he's made a great career, in all those years.
Yeah, he does look a good guy. When I read that stat that he scored more goals for England than Beckham, Gerrard, and Kevin Keegan. I just couldn't believe that. Yeah,
it is hard to believe, isn't it? But he had that sort of purple patch a few years ago when he was in the team and scoring a few goals and a few in friendlies as well. To be fair, but as I say, he's made a great career, and I think he's always. You see him when he's interviewed, he's always comes across well, never sort of moaned. And as I say, he's had a few clubs. I think he could probably fill a golf bag with the amount of clubs he's played at. But he just gets on with it.
All right, Steve, thanks very much. And enjoy the test match. Hopefully it doesn't end at 5 o'clock this afternoon, Steve.
Exactly, yeah. Well, let's. I know one or two people going today, so let's hope they see not too many wickets.
All right, Steve.
All right.
Have a good day. All the best.
Cheers, Steve.
Bye.
Thank you. There's our UK correspondent, Stevie Brahm, big sportsman, Gav.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I mean, just listening to the Peter Crouch story, we had one or two players in our local leagues that played similar to Crouch. We had Kevin Moody, we got Lance Rasmussen. They got their goals. We would call them the Langoustines of the team.
Yeah.
But they got their goals. They might not have been the best ball players on the ground, but if you put it in the far post, they were there waiting for it.
Don't tell Kevin Moody that. But, anyway, the Carling Black Label is on Saturday. As usual, it's a great spectacular for the fans, where the fans get involved. And we put the betting up. It's a kick-off at 3:30 Saturday. 2-1 Kaiser Chiefs, 21-10 the draw, 13-10 Pirates. Gav? You're a Pirates man?
Yeah, Pirates for me. I think over the last couple of years, a lot of draws in these games.
Yeah.
But it's early days. It's one that's this game is really for the fans to get out there. I think the Pirates team is more organised, if I can say that, than the Chiefs side. I mean, Chiefs have really been battling over the last couple of years to find a solid team. See, Middledorf has still got his job there. I'm surprised to see that. I thought Chiefs would have definitely changed coach by now. But it should be a good game. I mean, the fans out there in their droves, and they love this type of tournament. Yeah. So Chiefs, Pirates, classic. Yeah.
Always, as I just think the draw of the last 4 finals that they've had, or matches in the Carling Black Label, 3 have gone to penalty shootouts, and Pirates have won them. Where the only game that didn't go to penalty shootout, Chiefs won 1-0. So I can't believe that Ernst Middendorf still has his job after losing to TS Galaxy in the Cup final at Moses Mabhida. I'm surprised. But if you took 13-10 Pirates, I always look at these matches, who's got more to prove? And Chiefs finished 9th last year. Pirates finished 2nd. Chiefs won 9 games, Gav. They scored 30 league games. They scored 33 goals. That's not Chiefs.
That's a poor showing. Back in the day when we were playing, Chiefs were scoring 60, 70 goals. Top goal scorers were getting 25, 30.
Yeah.
When they came to town, or you went up to Joburg to play them, I mean, they were a formidable team.
Yeah.
You knew let's just keep the score down. You try and set your team out not to get beat. Today, you have a full go at them because they just seem to be leaking goals all around the pitch. They're just not settled. Maybe they just keep changing the formats. And I think they bought a couple of players from TS Galaxy, which is surprising, but because those young boys are still learning the trade. And you're going to try and put them into a Chiefs team we're demanding. The supporters are very demanding for Chiefs.
Yeah, I think if he gets beat, he's in trouble. But Kaiser has always been staunch to his manager. He's never really taken much abuse from the fans, seeing it's his club. But I just don't like watching Kaiser Chiefs anymore. But Pirates win and draw for me there. But if you wanted to have a bet, my bet would be 21-10 the draw, because the fear of defeat in these games is obviously a major motivation. We go on to the American MLS. Now, New York City, that's part of the Man City group, 7-10 at home. This is Friday night our time, early Saturday morning. They've won 3 of the last 4 home games against the Sporting Kansas City team that, while they've only lost 1 of the last 5, they don't win too many away from home. And to me, 7-10 New York City looks a good thing.
Yeah, definitely good value at 7-10. Teams that are winning 70, 80% of their home games, and they've won 3 and lost 1 of their last 4, like you say. They should be too good. 7-10 looks like good value. And you're getting good value in this league. Yeah. Some good value in the play.
The only hassle is we can't watch them. Now, Los Angeles at home against Atlanta. Los Angeles are the favourites to win the competition. Gav, how do you see this going?
Yeah, they've won 8 and drew 1. So the record is looking very good at home for them. So 5-10 looks like a bit short, but looks like a standout bet for me.
Yeah, and Atlanta won the competition last year, but the last 5 away from home, they've got beat. So I agree. I saw 12-10 Los Angeles to win by more than 1 goal. And when you bear in mind they lost to LA Galaxy last week, courtesy of a Zlatan Ibrahimovic hat-trick, I think they'll be fired up to beat them. Now, New England, under the new manager, Bruce Arena, they're unbeaten in the last 10 league games. They've won 6 and drawn 4 against an Orlando City team, which is captained by a former Man United player, Nani. They're always capable of scoring, but it won't be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy. I mean, it shows you that some of the top players, when they start to get towards the end of their career, they can move into the New York League. And that's a tough league for them. But they can go and help out and get that soccer league up and running.
Yep.
Good luck to them. This game, 6-10 New England against Orlando. I'm leaning a little bit to the home team again because they've won 6 of their last 10 and drew 4. So good home record. It always stands you in good stead.
Yeah, I agree. It should be New England. Now, the New York Red Bulls against Columbus. Going well, the Red Bulls, especially at home.
Yeah, 1-4, drew 1 of their last 5, compared to Columbus, who drew 1, lost 8.
Yeah.
So again, another standout bet looks like on the cards here at 7-10.
Yeah.
New York should be too strong.
Yeah, I agree. I saw 15-10 New York Red Bulls to win by more than 1. That's definitely in our play. Now, Chicago versus Wayne Rooney's DC United. If ever there's a team that's let me down, it's Chicago. DC United, I just can't believe they're betting 7-10. They've only won 1 of their last 11, Chicago, against a DC United team who've only lost 2 of the last 9.
Yeah, I just saw the result during the week where they've lost DC United. And I'm leaning towards the draw in this game.
Yeah.
You know, you're one team that's stuttering at home and can get a result, compared to a team that's showing good form. But yeah, 3-1 the draw looks like a big price. I'll be leaning for the draw here.
Yeah, it was even money, win and draw DC United. I just can't have a team that's only won 1 out of 11. Dallas versus Real Salt Lake. Gav, how do you see that going?
Well, the last 5 games, they've won 3 and drawn 2, Dallas, compared to Real Salt, who've drew 1 and have lost 3. So, you know, your away form for this team is like it's their Achilles heel, and the price tag is showing Dallas at 8-10.
Yeah.
Again, you know, 70-80% of your home games are won. You can get close in the league. I think Dallas could win this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think 8-10 Dallas be hard to beat. Now Houston versus Seattle. Seattle had that unbelievable home record last week until they played Portland and got beat 2-1. Now Houston have won 2 and lost 6 of the last 8. But away from home, Seattle are terrible. They've won 1 of the last 9. You know, Houston, the draw for me there. Gav, how do you see that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm leaning the same way. Houston, fairly good record, but nothing to write home about. So I'm leaning towards the draw. 2 teams that don't really show that much confidence in their placing. But yeah, the draw looks like the play.
Yeah, now Minnesota have come well of late. Too good for Vancouver?
Well, they've won 5, lost 1, where Vancouver have lost all 5 away. So Minnesota looks like the right bet, and the betting showing at 4-10, so Minnesota looks like a good thing on paper.
Yeah.
So yeah, their home form is very strong, so I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Yeah, Adrian Heath, the former Evertonian, he's a manager of them. It was even money, Minnesota to win by more than 1 goal, or 12-10, Minnesota to win and over 2.5 goals. So that was definitely in my vision. Our last page, we have Montreal, who are managed by the ex-Arsenal midfielder Remy Gard. Now, their last 7 games, they've won 2 and lost 5. Against a Philadelphia team that are top of the Eastern Conference and been hard to beat lately.
No, I'm looking at the draw here. I seriously think this is a good bet for a draw. Teams that have got good form away from home against a team that's won 2, lost 5.
Yep.
The team at home, Montreal, always looks like they could get a result. So maybe they're losing 2-1, 1-0. For me, a good price at 5-2 for the draw.
Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
I
think Philadelphia in the draw in that particular game. Now, Toronto, another in and out side, always good at home. They won 2 of the last 3 against a Cincinnati team that have lost 8 of their last 9 away league games. And strangely, the only time I went against them away from home, they beat Chicago 2-1 in Chicago. But I can't see them getting anything here.
No, I think this is a bit of a trip for them to get to Toronto. I think Toronto at 3-10 standout bets. I think you can anchor that in all your bets.
Yeah, I agree. Now, San Jose, going well in the Western Conference against a Colorado Rapids team, struggling away from home, Gav.
Well, San Jose have won 7, drew 1, compared to Colorado, who won 1, drawn 3. again, home form, big part in your bets. You've got to lean towards. You've got to look at your home form when you're having your bets on the weekends.
Yep.
And I think San Jose definitely the team to go for. A bit short at 4-10, but yeah, I'll definitely be leaning towards them.
Yeah, when teams win away from home, you know they've got a chance. They've won 7 of the last 10, only lost 1. And it's a Colorado team, in and out, but I agree. 4-10 should be a good thing. Now, the last game is the big game of the week. Portland Timbers against Zlatan Ibrahimovic's LA Galaxy.
They blow hot and cold Galaxy at times. I mean, I was watching Zlatan the other day getting a hat-trick.
Yeah.
He's still a force to be reckoned with. He's a big guy. He gets amongst the defenders. You know, and they can see they give him a lot of respect. Some of the guys stand off him, which is a big mistake for him because he shows the quality. I mean, he scored a great volley the other day. I think caught everybody by surprise. At 4-1 Galaxy, I mean, it's a huge price, but they've got to travel to Portland.
Yeah.
And just with their last couple of games for Galaxy, I'm also going to lean towards a draw at a big price at 7-2.
Yeah, I think it was 15-10 win and draw Galaxy. Ironically, they played in the US Open Cup a couple of months ago, and Portland beat them 4-0. But, you know, LA Galaxy of late, they've won 3 of the last 4. So you just never know, and I agree. You don't take on Zlatan. Once he loses his...
those quality players, they will always produce something special on the day.
Yeah.
So you can't give them the opportunities. They will bury you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking 5-10. On to our exotics for the weekend. Kick off with the Soccer 6 with Kaizer Chiefs Orlando Pirates. I've gone the field in that particular game. The French League 2 starts this weekend, and I've sided with Lens to get a good result at Le Mans. Onto the Swedish Allsvenskan, and I had to find another banker, so I've banked Falkenberg to beat GIF Sundsvall. I've gone ARK Stockholm win and draw at Sirius. I've gone the field in the AFC Eskilstuna Hammarby clash, and I've banked Ajax Amsterdam to beat PSV Eindhoven in the Ajax Super Cup, purely because it's been played in Amsterdam. Our second Soccer 6 starts off. The first 2 games are from the Belgian League. I've gone win and draw Sint-Truiden against Royal XL Moskron. I've gone Zulte Weergame, win and draw at home against KV Mechelen. I've gone Bohemians in the Republic of Ireland League to get a win and draw at Sligo Rovers. Cruzeiro, who played in the Copa Libertadores last night, I've gone win and draw at home against Atletico Paranaense. I've sided with Sao Paulo to get a good result at Fluminense, and I've banked Internacional, who have won 16 of the last 20 home league games, to beat Ceará, 192. Our final, onto the Soccer 10, I've gone New England, win and draw at home against Orlando City. I've banked the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus Crew. I've put the field in the Chicago Fire DC United game. I've banked Dallas to beat Real Salt Lake. I've gone the field in the Houston Dynamo Seattle Sounders game. Our second page shows Minnesota, good things to beat Vancouver at home. I've sided with the Philadelphia Union to win or draw at Montreal Impact. I've banked Toronto to beat Cincinnati, the San Jose Earthquakes to beat Colorado Rapids, and I've gone the field in Portland Timbers versus LA Galaxy, 216. On to the tricky Soccer 13, I've gone Falkenbergs, win and draw at home against GIF Sundsvall. I've gone ARK Stockholm, win and draw at Sirius. I've gone AFC Eskilstuna, win and draw at home against Hammarby. I've gone ARK Brage to win or draw against Mjolby. I've gone Norby, win and draw at home against Osters. I've banked Trelleborg to beat RK Frej. I've banked Young Kopping Sodra to beat Degerfors. Onto the second page, I've gone in the Denmark game. I've gone FC Copenhagen to win at Horsens. I've gone Djurgårdens, win and draw at home against BK Häcken. I've sided with Malmo, win and draw at Ostersons. I've banked IFK Gothenburg to beat Norrköping. Varberg's White to beat Ågrat. And I've gone Dalkurd, win and draw at Västerås, 435. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. We start off with in the MLS. I've gone New York City to beat Sporting Kansas City. I've gone the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus Crew. I've gone Dallas to beat Real Salt Lake. And I've gone win or draw DC United at the Chicago Fire and Philadelphia Union at the Montreal Impact, 2,900 to 200. Our Swedish quad is Djurgårdens to beat BK Häcken. I've gone Elfsborg to win on Sunday against Orebro. I've gone Helsingborg to beat Hammarby, and I've gone win and draw AFC Eskilstuna, 3,600 to 200. On to our Brazilian quartet. I've gone Fortaleza to beat Corinthians at home. I've gone Goiás to beat Atlético Mineiro at home. I've gone Bahia to win and draw at Chapecoense, and Sao Paulo to win or draw at Fluminense, 2,800 to 200. Both teams to score sides are New England against Orlando City, Chicago versus DC United, Portland versus LA Galaxy, Flamengo versus Botafogo, and CSA versus Grêmio on Monday, 3,200 to 200. 3,200 to 200, sorry. Our handicap quad, all these teams have to win by more than one goal. I've gone the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus. I've gone Minnesota to beat Vancouver. I've gone Toronto to beat Cincinnati. And I've gone Santos to beat Avar, 3,400 to 200. And on to our Collis King 6 or Nexa. I've gone the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus Crew. I've gone Toronto to beat Cincinnati. I've gone San Jose to beat Colorado. I've gone Elfsborg to beat Kalmar, Jan Kopping Sodra to beat Degerfors, and Palmeiras, who have ironically won their last 18 home league games, to beat Vasco da Gama, 3,600 to 200. Gav?
Well, but it's good for the punters out there. The leagues are starting to kick in again.
Yeah.
So everybody's starting to get their bets and they're starting to get their teams ready. I think you've got to do your homework the night before, see who your home teams are, see if there's some value, and then from there, fire away.
Yeah.
I think the English Premiership starts in 2 weeks.
Yep.
The local league starts next week. So there's some good games coming up, and the guys need to get out there to the stadiums and support the games.
All right, you got a couple of tips for the fans out there?
Yeah, the bet this weekend is going to be Orlando Pirates to beat Kaiser Chiefs. I think they've got the edge over Chiefs, and Chiefs going through a bit of a transition, I believe. Okay. And New York Red Bulls, I think 7 to 10. So we're looking at about 33 to 10 the double.
Yeah. Well, after another successful weekend, I'm going for Elfsborg as my best bet of the weekend. They play on Monday. They're unbeaten at home, even though their last few games haven't really been too good, especially away from home. They've won 4 and drawn 3 of the last 7 games against a Kalmar team who have taken 1 point from the last 5 league games, scoring only 1 goal. So I'm siding 13 to 10. And my best value bets in the Brazilian Serie A, a team called Fortaleza. They play Corinthians, who play in the Copa Sul-Americana tonight. And what happens in the Brazilian league, they always rotate their players for the league game. The money's in the Copa. So I expect Fortaleza at 17 to 10 to get a good result. To all the viewers, thank you for watching, and remember, stay on side.